Secretary. And Jackie.
Hello, Kevin.
Hey, Craig.
How are you?
Good. How you doing, sir?
No complaints.
Okay. Okay.
How's the family?
Doing great. How about yours, man?
Keeping busy.
Keeping busy. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. My oldest hopefully will finish her master's in about a year.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Crossing my fingers.
Yes. Well,
Actually, I want to go down and see. Well, she's got access to Indiana basketball tickets. I want to go down and see a game still.
you may as well stay at home. You don't get to see the replays.
Yeah. That's true. Very true.
Hey, Jeff. Did yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jeff. Did you get the paper to Jackie?
Yes, it was emailed. Copy of it was emailed to Mrs. Martell, and she, I'm assuming, sent that out to everybody also.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Jackie?
I have it.
Awesome.
I have it. But
Thanks, Jackie.
is Dawn going to do the oath tonight for him?
No, we're going to ask the board to get a secretary, and then after the secretary, then comes Jeff. So
tonight?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. So the board's going to we're going to ask them to add 2 things to the agenda. And the first one is the secretary, so the secretary can then do the oath with Jeff.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you know, the thing, Kevin, with seeing basketball games down in Ann Arbor, it's so funny because a lot of times I'm watching the sky cam or the thing better than the game. It's but usually my friend who's been he's been getting Michigan basketball tickets for 40 years now.
Oh.
And he still hasn't gotten down into the lower bowl.
Oh.
So we usually have about mid-court, we have mid-court seats, and we're okay, but it's just kind of funny. But when we were in undergrad, he and 3 other guys had tickets that were like 7 or 8 rows up off the court in the corner, and talk about great tickets and great seats. But since then, we've been up in the rafters.
We went to see Notre Dame. TJ was about 12 years old. We went to go see Notre Dame play U of M in Notre Dame, and we went down the wrong aisle. And the guy said, he said, yeah, y'all are supposed to be over on that side. I said, well, can we just go across right there? He said, oh yeah, go ahead. We went down the floor where the guys were doing a shoot around, walked across the floor up, and the TJ just eyes. He's looking up at these guys. We're like, oh my God. It was, we didn't have to see the game. That was it for him. He was done.
That was, for sure. For sure.
Oh.
Yeah. Sometimes it just some games are really good. Sometimes it just fits. My brother-in-law and Carrie and Peggy had never seen a Michigan football game in Ann Arbor. So 2 or 3 years ago, I said, well, let's get some tickets. And they were okay, but I felt like you did, where I would have just as soon stay at home and watch the replays. They were playing Western, I think. And it was much better to see the replays.
Awesome.
Yeah. But it was good for them to get their first experience. Yeah, it was always good for them to just see what it's like. They never have to go back again. Yeah. I probably won't see a game for 10 years now. So.
Hey, one other thing. I know we're on live. share with me, what is your daughter, what is she getting her master's in?
Carrie's studying environmental, I think it's like environmental regulation.
Oh,
So she's interested in getting into government, and either at the EPA level or something like that, or at the state level.
wow.
Yeah. So she's really enjoying it. She went to Michigan State, but the degree wasn't quite specific enough. And so she realized after a while that she needed to go on and get a master's degree. So
Nice,
good.
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me see if I can, let me get the flag ready here. Give me a second. Let me look it up. Where's the flag?
Hello, Abby.
All right. Thanks, Craig. Let's see.
Hello.
I think I got it. Oh, it's Abby. Hey, Abby. And is it? Okay.
Hi, Jeff.
Hello, Abby.
It's good to see you.
Yes,
It's good to
thank
see
you.
Craig's face too.
Yes.
You don't like my self-portrait, Abby? I'm just kidding. I know, it's a loaded question. Jeff, I don't think we've ever been introduced.
I don't believe so, Doc.
Craig Corpola. Just call me Craig.
All right, just call me Jeff.
You've been in Pennfield all your life there, Jeff?
No, we have not. I actually graduated from Gull Lake.
Okay.
Our daughter, we moved her in third grade, second grade. We moved her in second grade into school of choice, Pennfield.
Okay.
Started the daycare, so on. So we looking at houses for 3 or 4 years, trying to find a house in Pennfield.
Yeah.
Finally was able to get in here 8 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my wife got her first job was over at KCC, and so that was back in the mid '80s.
Okay.
And then we got married and we settled here in the early '90s. So it's been quite a few years. They even had schools of choice within the district when my youngest was in kindergarten. So we had a choice of where she was going to go for, I think it was kindergarten or first grade. So she would, instead of going to Purdy, she went to North Penn. So
okay. Yeah, I think we had the same option too with our daughter. And we actually lived right around the corner from Purdy. So that made it nice. But I think when Tyler went, I think that decision was made for us, which he ended up going to North Penn.
Yeah, it's worked out pretty good, I think.
Yes.
For parents who wanted to have the teacher they wanted, that's worked out quite nicely.
Oh yeah, I mean we got a lot of in-towners per se that choose to go to Purdy, being close, and a lot of parents out in the country that like the North Penn location.
Yeah. So Jeff, you've been, the daycare's been the area that you job then since you moved into the community, or are you working somewhere else, or?
We also own a lawn care business, tree service, snow plowing. I do that. My wife is at the daycare.
I
She
see.
does all that fun. We've actually had the daycare for 14 years.
Oh, wow.
Just after Tyler was born, she started in-home daycare and then moved to our first location, which was in the Hilltop Plaza right there on M66.
I see.
And then I think 4 years ago now, we bought the old flower shop and renovated that, and that's our current location.
Sure. I would imagine you're pretty busy when we have a lot of snow around here, huh?
Yeah. When we have a lot of snow,
Mm-hmm.
we haven't had a good amount of snow in a few years. So
Yeah, I've been waiting to use my snowshoes. But
snowshoes.
Yeah, we've never had enough snow really to speak of, and cross country skis not so much either. So
No, and even snowmobiles are getting hard to justify keeping.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that eastern end of the UP has always been a good place for people to go, but it's a good four and a half hour drive.
Oh yeah. We used to go up to Whitefish Point.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we used to go up there snowmobiling all the time. And I mean, back when I was a kid on spring break, we'd go up there, in March, and we used to go up there snowmobiling. And now that's long gone.
Yeah. Yeah, the lake has been pretty good to places like Paradise and to Marquette and Munising and over by Ironwood, but a lot of the places further south in the UP just don't get a lot of snow. It's pretty mild winters once you get past that, the Waters Mead area.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello. I'm getting ready to call this meeting to order. It's a special meeting, November 23rd. And we will start with a Pledge of Allegiance.
So I will pull up the flag. And let's see. Oh, I forgot to share. Then we have the flag.
Thank you, Kevin.
Welcome.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. With Brandon not here, Abby, would you be willing to go ahead and do roll call?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Alicia,
Here.
Dottie,
Dottie's trying. I'm working with her.
okay. Craig,
Here.
Dawn,
Here.
and I am here. Now, has Jeff been sworn in yet? We still need to do that, right?
Scott Baxter.
Oh, I'm
Here.
sorry, Scott.
Here.
We have a
So-
quorum, but sorry, just don't know what the question, how to handle that.
And Dottie is here now.
Welcome, Dottie. We'll just get a verbal here from Dottie and then we'll move forward.
Hi, Dottie, we're taking roll call. Are you here?
Yeah, I am. I just got on.
Awesome.
Welcome, Dottie. Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you, Abby.
You're welcome.
We have a couple items to add to the agenda. Kevin, would you like to present those?
Yes, we're asking the board to add a secretary so that we, if we can get a vote to add a secretary or an acting secretary, so then we can then take the oath for that secretary to go with bringing Jeff on board.
I don't have the agenda ahead of me, but I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're at the addendum to where the board can make an addition to the agenda. And Don was just mentioning what are those two things. And one is we need a secretary in order to then do adding an oath of office for Jeff.
So that has to be done by a secretary. It can't be done by another officer in the absence of a secretary?
Yes, if you have someone that's going to be acting secretary, yes.
Okay, so why are we doing anything with Jeff this time? I don't understand why he's on here.
Yeah, because we actually have his papers that came through that he is now certified and he can start as a board member as of last night, getting the notification from Terry Lowe from the elections officer.
Okay, well, welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Dottie.
So either a motion and actually have someone that is acting secretary or is voted in as secretary, but we do need a secretary even for this meeting and the next.
I make a motion that we ask Dottie Dilsaver to be acting secretary for the next two meetings.
Where's Brandon?
He's no longer on the board. Jeff took his spot because his was a partial term.
I mean, it'd been nice if we'd have known before all this happened tonight. Why weren't we informed?
Because
that Brandon wasn't going to be on there and all of a sudden Jeff's here.
Dottie, it's board protocol. That's how it's done after the election with a partial term.
Okay, I guess I don't understand the whole thing why Brandon's not here.
His term ended after the election.
And Jeff is the one that refilled it?
Yes,
okay.
He ran for that partial term.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. I'll do the roll call.
Well, we already did roll call. We're gonna vote to put you in as a vote to have you be the interim secretary so that you can swear Jeff into office.
Okay, I have nothing in front of me.
Okay.
Are you going to post the oath for me to read?
Would it be easier for Scott or Craig or Alicia to do it?
I don't care, but I don't know where the oath is. I can do it. I don't have a problem with that. I just can't read an oath I can't see.
So
am I making sense?
Yes, I think Jackie would be able to pull up the oath based on.
I will forward it to Dottie.
What'd she just say?
Dottie, I will forward it to you right now.
Okay, so you're going to do it on my messages?
I'm going to send it to you in the email like I just did the link.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jackie.
Nothing like being confused. Okay, hold on, everybody.
But I feel like we need to make the motion and vote if Dottie is going to be the acting secretary. We didn't finish that up either.
Abby made the motion. I'll second it.
Was that Scott or Craig?
It was me. It was me, Dottie. It's Craig.
Okay. Okay. Do we need a second?
Abby made the motion. I seconded it.
Okay. I'm sorry, but I didn't hear it very well. My hearing aids aren't working with us for a while. So
Dottie, Abby made the motion And Craig seconded it.
Okay, thank you. Abby, Craig. Okay. Do we have any discussion? Everyone in support of me being secretary for the next 2 meetings, say aye. Now do a roll call. Craig?
Yeah, we'll do a roll call.
Craig?
I couldn't think of anybody better than you, Dottie. Aye.
What? What did he say? I'm sorry, you guys. This is just too much for me right now.
He said yes, Daddy. He said yes.
Abby. Is that a yes for you, Abby?
Yeah, I'm laughing with you.
Jeff? Jeff, are you voting yes or no?
I don't get to vote yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm not on the board.
Would have been nice. It would have been nice to know all this prior to me stepping
It's okay.
late on a meeting. So, all right, Scott,
Yes.
Alicia,
Yes.
Dottie, yes. Dawn. Did we lose Dawn?
We lost her. I'm sure she's on her way back in, but it just said Dawn left the meeting on my screen.
Okay. Well, we still have the motions for, it's a quorum is in, so do you want to just
Yeah.
call it? Okay.
She just had internet problems, so hopefully she'll be right back.
Okay. So do you want to wait?
Well, where did it go? It just, all that did was made you the secretary. I think she's going to place it on the agenda somewhere down there, right?
Yeah, there'll be another motion to ask to put that on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even have the agenda in front of me. I have nothing in front of me.
Well,
I'm sorry, guys, but for me to walk in and I couldn't get on, and now all of a sudden I'm secretary, I didn't even know what was happening. It's like a big shock here.
It's all good, Daddy. It's all good. We're
And it's
living.
only Monday.
Okay, you guys are going to give me a heart attack.
You're good. You're good.
Okay, so we could probably go ahead and say the motion because we have a quorum. We could call the motion as a yes without Dawn, correct?
to make you as secretary, that's correct.
Yes. So we can call it as a yes. The motion is approved.
Correct. Now we need to wait for Dawn. She just texted and said her Chromebook went dead. She's coming. She's working on it.
Okay. Well, I got to find the other stuff.
It'll give you a minute. It will give you a minute to catch up there.
There. Okay. I finally got the information from Jackie, so I can swear Jeff in.
We got to make a motion to put that on the agenda. So I think we'll wait for Dawn just for a minute.
Okay. I hope you're going to do these minutes for me, Jackie.
I got you, Dottie. Don't worry.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Hey, Dottie, do you have your email open?
Do I have what?
Your email open.
Yes, I do, because that's what I'm going to be reading the oath from.
Okay, I'm going to send you an agenda also.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Here's Dawn.
I'm back through my phone.
Okay, so we just made a motion to make me secretary, and we had a quorum without you. Is that okay?
That's awesome. Thank you, Dottie.
Okay. Now, you're sending me the other one, right? The agenda?
Yeah, I just emailed it to you, Dottie.
Okay, thank you. I'll get that up.
So Dawn, are you ready for a motion to add the office, making Jeff a board member onto the agenda? Oath of office?
Jeff's oath of office onto the agenda. Yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we amend the agenda to add Jeff's oath of office.
And I second that.
Okay, we have Abby and Dawn. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote will be Dawn. Yes or no?
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Abby,
Yes.
Craig, and Alicia.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, myself is I. So a motion pass.
Thank you.
Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Okay, now I gotta find Jeff's motion again. Okay, just a second, I gotta get his oath of office.
Mhm.
Okay, are we ready for the oath of office now?
Yes.
Okay, repeat after me, Jeff. I, Jeff Wolf, say your last name, please.
I, Jeff Wolfersberger,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of member, go
the
ahead,
duties of the office
of member of the Board of Education
of member of the Board of Education
of Pennfield School District
of Pennfield School District
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
Welcome. Jeff.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Thank you, Dottie. Thank you, everyone.
Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you.
We appreciate you volunteering to run as part of the board.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here.
Kevin, agenda.
Okay, now that we have completed that, and I do not have an agenda in front of me, Kevin, would you be willing to?
Yep, it's public comments.
Okay, Tammy, is there anyone for public comment?
Yes, we have one person, and it looks like he's on, and that is Robert Maresh. So Robert, go ahead and unmute, and you have the board's attention.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Rob Marsh. My question is you give us 1 week to make a decision of how we're going to alter our entire families and childcare between working and everything like that. You leave us less than a week to make that decision. I want to know what made you think that. I mean, if you foresee something that we don't see. The second part would be you're putting the burden on the families and our childcare. I mean, is there anything, is the school trying to get grants for our childcare, maybe to help us out, to alleviate the burden? Because some families are either going to have to pull out of a job, or some families are going to have to either work harder and longer away, and that doesn't give us time. I understand children between the ages of 6th grade and up, it's really easy, but I've got children that are just barely able to read, so somebody needs to be there to supervise them. So that burden either falls on me. I mean, I know Battle Creek Christians, Erin down there, she really works hard and tried to get everything. They've hired a teacher to help their people, but that's not their burden. I mean, what is the school going to implement to try to help these families out and try to recover on that? Also, there's families out there that are needing, they rely on that food and stuff. I mean, thankful we're not one of them, but there's other families out there that need this the support, this aid from the state, because the school is still getting the same money. It's not that the state walked in and said, okay, now Pennfield District, you're not getting any money. You're still getting the money, so why can't we ensure that the families are being taken care of? And there's lots of teachers. I understand the teachers are working really hard. There's one that I know in Dunlap, and there's several other ones in North Penn that I'm aware of. But one that really stands out is Mrs. Mosier. She had a really great template last spring that was great for the 3rd graders. I think that needs to be shared across the board, because the way she had it, it really was, the kids were really receptive to that. My son was really receptive to that. And I think that we all need to get on the same page here with teaching our children, because when we're old and gray and sitting in some old folks home, these kids are going to be running our country. And if they're not still maintaining this level, this is what I'm so afraid of, is that they're going to fall so far behind. I understand they get the green light because of the COVID and stuff like that, and I don't want them to be deemed as, oh, you're the COVID generation. You're not the millennials, you're the COVID generation. So we need to do something to make sure that we're staying on top of their education and making sure and providing that. But I was wondering, what is the school going to do to alleviate that burden on the child care and on the families? That's all I have, ma'am.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Robert.
That is the only person that we had for public comment. And Robert, you can exit out and then watch via the live stream. So we should be set to go.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Tammy. Moving forward.
Presentations and discussions, Dawn, with the discussion of virtual learning district-wide. This is the 3.01 part of the agenda.
Thank you. Kevin, would you like to share with the board what you have proposed to the board?
Yes, I am proposing the district is a district-wide virtually through January the 18th. And some of the data as discussed, and I say some was discussed during the last board meeting, was that the kids are not causing the infections or the virus to be spread inside the school. What we have is a situation where numerous kids are coming from outside in the community coming to the school. And we also have our staff that are also coming to the school. And it's become a situation that is the operation of the district, the teaching and learning is not occurring because we do not have enough staff to continue to try to sub in. We have teachers who are giving us their test results that are being positive the night before the next day of school when the kids should be on the bus coming in. And then we have to scramble to try to pull in a different teacher, knowing that teacher is coming from a different classroom during their planning. But we've also found ourselves to where schooling our kids at this point, operational is not working, is more of a situation of trying to move puzzle pieces around, yet the learning is not occurring for our kids in a manner that it should be a effective teaching and learning opportunity. We also found that the data based on the county is saying that we're above 15%, the positivity rate. The number that we were moving toward in the county with the neighboring districts was 4%, that anything that went above 4%, that we would start looking at the possibility of going remote learning. Well, we did what the health department has recommended. We waited as long as possible, but now it's become a situation where the operations of the district cannot continue in the manner that we are doing. Yet we are continuing to try to do a few things with this recommendation where our special needs kids, one-on-one opportunities with teachers, and that is after all other avenues have been exhausted, meaning we've tried everything possible. They may be struggling with the technology and how to get started. And we're in 13 weeks in. So we found ourselves in a situation to where a lot of them who now know how to do the operational piece with the computer, and now we have to bring them in with a teacher to sit down and work with them a little closer and then allow them to get what they need to meet those goals. we are trying to, we're doing a few other things with, we're not eliminating the Wi-Fi, those that have limited or no Wi-Fi accessibility. We're going to be able to continue the usage of the 4 to 8 o'clock for those secondary students. And the make sure I have the 4 to 6:30 with the elementary students who are coming in with their parents to utilize the Wi-Fi over at Dunlop. So that recommendation is being made also with the fact of watching what is occurring across the state and right here locally, that even our neighboring districts have made some of the same decisions based on this information and more that is continually coming in. Even while we have virtual classes, we still have students and teachers who are reporting positive cases that they've tested positive. That's not even to mention the enormous amount of students that get quarantined based on athletic teams, or they're in a certain classroom, or they are lunch personnel. There is just so many things that are occurring at this point to where we can't operate as a school district when it comes to teaching and learning. But we're trying to make the adjustment now so that we can continue. I will also add that food service will continue to have the food service for the total community. And the way it is utilized is any child that is in the community, need they be from our district or another district, they will still be able to come to pick up the food, as we've done over the summer, back in the spring, and what we've been doing since the beginning of the year for our virtual students. So that is not going away. That is strategically being put in place and to continue with our food service department. Questions?
I have a couple, Kevin.
Sure.
First of all, what can you help us understand what the significance is of the January 18th date as opposed to just the 3 weeks that the shutdown is for the state?
Yes, there is a 2 weeks after the holiday break that, as the media and the health department has been recommending families not go and travel and be with other families, and the college students coming back to their households. They're 2 weeks after the holiday break is like quarantining after Thanksgiving. So the 2 weeks after would take us into the last week before the actual break, which would be the week of the 14th through the 18th. So that would leave 1 week. Well, what we found is based on, and I say we, this is talking with the health department and the area districts that are making this decision, is that the number of cases that continue to go up, positive cases that continue to go up and continue to come into the school, that bringing students back, and we're in a hybrid, so we're talking Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday, is not going to be a suitable recommendation for after Thanksgiving. And the 2 weeks after the holiday break, which is New Year's, is the week of the 4th and the week of the 11th, which would go to the 15th, and Monday is the 18th, is to resume classes on the 18th. If things start to get better with the number of cases that are taking place, especially just within our district, because right now we are ranked number 1 in the county when it comes to the number of positive cases that are being reported at the health department. Now, that was as of last Wednesday. That was, we have the most positive cases based on just our school district in Pennfield Township. So that was the reason for resuming on the 18th.
Is there a semester break right in there too, or doesn't that doesn't really play into it for this?
Yeah, the semester break ends the Friday the 18th, which is right before.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
it's the
December
Friday,
18th.
December 8th. I'm sorry, December the 18th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I have one more question.
Sure.
So I have heard of a couple of schools. I don't know if there's one local and a couple a little farther away that have actually arranged for learning pods, like small outside of the school for kids that need it. Do you know anything about any of those that are happening locally and how they're structured?
I haven't heard of that occurring locally. Usually they are either a family is saying, hey, I know of this family and they're trying to take kids in, but I am not familiar with local pods that are occurring. This was the same discussion that came up in the spring when, so I haven't heard of that occurring at this time, but I would not doubt in the next couple of weeks that this information is going to come to our attention.
I'm just trying to figure out if there's something we can do to help families. It just seems like there should be something we can do.
Well, I tell you what I am checking into is the one of our neighboring districts has offered their school as a place where the first responders, the doctors and the nurses, that they actually are going to offer free childcare for their kids. I am trying to figure out how they're able to do that when they are going district-wide virtual. So I am talking with their superintendent and trying to figure out exactly, and I think it's more of a, if you're going to open for childcare, then why wouldn't you be having a hybrid situation? So so I'm trying to figure out how they're doing that. I don't know if it's some type of federal funding of some type that is about to go in play, but that's the only thing that comes close to what your question, Addie.
The first time around, there was some emergency childcare licensing for school age to give them somewhere to go. But I agree with you. I think if a school is going to do that, then the question is, why aren't they keeping the kids in school?
Yeah. I just, especially when we're talking about the restrictions that are now coming out through MIOSHA, and from what I understand, even next week they're getting ready to roll out even more restrictions. So they're just waiting to see if the numbers are going to hold or either drop. But if they continue to go up, then they're looking at more restrictions, and that's why the first order went out for December the 8th.
So last question, then I promise to mute my button. Is there any situation that you foresee with if coronavirus numbers go down drastically between now and during this 3-week time period? Is there a situation where you would see bringing kids back sooner?
Yeah, we actually had that conversation with the health department also, and there's a metric that is being used that says that if the school district and the township, if their numbers drop below what is in the county, then you can consider yourself not high risk, but high risk. But it's not until you get to moderate that you're able to start having a conversation about coming back. Right now, because the numbers have gone above 10 and they're up around 15 and climbing, that they have to at least drop below 10. So I don't see the county number dropping below 10 within 3 weeks, because if it would drop below 10 in 3 weeks, then that means everybody in the county, there are some changes about not going to to do what they say gatherings with Thanksgiving. But that right now, that number doesn't look like it's going to drop from 15 plus down to 10.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
One of my biggest.
So Kevin, if you were to characterize the nature of our difficulties, would you say it's both the infection rate as well as the problems with teachers being our teaching staff being unable to cover things as effective as we would like? And if it's both, then what I'm gathering from what you're saying and from what the health department is saying is that by remote, we're able to then provide those lessons that kids need more efficiently and more effectively, correct?
That is correct. So the problem is not the schools. The problem is being brought into the schools,
Right.
and it's creating a havoc on what should be teaching and learning. That is, one class is out today, a building is closed. It is just not effective right now. It's not. It's really not working. It's a situation to where parents who are working in a virtual environment are most likely getting more of an opportunity for that teaching and learning to occur. Even though we are not saying it's better than in person, we would love to have all of them back in person. But right now, with a student being bounced in and out or being quarantined because they're in and out, and then pieces of the class being in and out, it's like taking the student and place them in a totally different school. And every time you put them in a totally different school, the research says they lose learning, and that learning occurs as we have kids who are in virtual to where it's not as effective as it is in person. There's a consistency that allows for growth and learning to occur, to not bounce them back and forth. So that is what's occurring across the county right now, and Calhoun County being the highest, if not the second highest in the state, with the infection rate that is there.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
I'll start with my first question of the board.
Yeah.
Or being on the board. What I gathered from what your original statement was, are you stating right now that you do not have enough teachers to properly operate?
Yeah, I'm saying that as we go every week, so we have 15 positive cases that occur in the last 15 weeks, and it impacts a class. So we have teachers and we have subs that we're bringing in. But what we're finding is, even with bringing a sub in and the teacher is out, that learning is not occurring that needs to occur, because we're teaching the kids like they're in a virtual setting. So as far as saying enough teachers, there are times, I would say maybe 4 out of the last 15 weeks, we were fully staffed. But since then, we've had staff that's been out, needed be parapros, teacher aides, or the teacher themselves that had to be out, and we had to bring in subs just to allow the kids the opportunity to try to get virtual learning while the teacher was at home. So it's not, there's a shortage of teachers, there's a shortage of subs across the district. We've been fortunate to try to pull those subs, but the times where we've had 3 and 4 teachers to call at the middle of the night, late night, saying they won't be in the next day, we have found ourselves being short. But our teachers have been stepping up and saying, you know what, I'll help out. I'll take my planning time and I'll go over. That's become we've had building principals that have had to go into classrooms. And these are principals who just came back from quarantine to go straight into the classroom. So I wouldn't say that it's a shortage of teachers as much as the effectiveness of the instruction of those adults that are in the rooms with the kids when a quarantine happens.
I understand, but you feel we have enough personnel right now if we continue the hybrid? We have enough personnel?
We have enough personnel.
Thank you.
Because we're trying to continue to hire. That's correct.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Just to add, if I may, let me
Yeah.
add to Jeff's question, is that personnel that we are hiring, which are those subs, it's because we have teachers that are virtual teachers that are 1 to 44 students. So we still need those subs that we're hiring, because even in a virtual situation, we want to create a balance and more of a connectivity with the instructional level instruction that's being given. So 1 teacher to 44 students, and I would say, and I'm sure that this just came up in Dunlop, we've even had situation where there's maybe 55 to 57 kids to 1 teacher because of these situations that have occurred. So when I say we got the personnel, we have the personnel, but there's a discrepancy, and we're trying to balance that out. And that's a continuous work. So I want to make sure to share that. Okay.
Thank you.
When you say 1 to 57, you do have parapros supporting that teacher, correct?
That's correct. And we're trying to continue to hire parapros and sub teachers because we need to make sure we continue to have enough personnel. The teachers who have become, how can I say, they test positive. Some of them are still able to work from home, but some of them were not. It got that bad. So we didn't want to go without, and we didn't want to push extra onto other teachers who say, "Oh, I'll pick it up. I'll help out." Instead, we should be trying to keep that balance. So that's why we hiring the subs that we've hired, even for the virtual situation. But very good question. Right now it is such a juggling act that we're trying to keep it going, that at least we're able to have all of the students in a virtual situation and still attend to our special needs students also. But good question.
It's one heck of a task. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Jeff. Addie?
So by going virtual, I think I'm going to say the same thing you said in a different way, just to make sure I understand it. I think what you're saying is, if all of the students are virtual and all of the teachers are teaching virtually, that even if the teacher gets quarantined, if they don't have any symptoms and they're not positive, they'll be able to keep teaching. Is that true? That's
correct. And they've been doing that. That's correct.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Dawn, I'm sure you were maybe getting ready to say this. So the reason it's an action item is to get board's approval for resuming classes on the 18th of January, as to resume classes. And that is as it becomes safe, because as we're looking at this data, we're hoping that even in our community, as well as the county and the state, that these numbers start to come down, and hopes that we can do a little more to keep our kids and our staff safe. I'll add one other thing, is we've had a influx, or should I say a rise in the number of kids who are testing positive. So it's one thing that we had teachers, but now we have parents calling in saying their child has tested positive, which is the reason why that number was so high, that created 1 every week with a positive case that impacted the quarantine groups that we've run into. It's a sad situation. You know, we would not want that on our own kids. And even though we don't want that for the adults either, it hits a little closer to home when you're talking about kids that are testing positive with this situation.
So do you need us to ratify the decision to go virtual, or just also?
Yeah, to support the district-wide virtual learning through January the 15th to resume in-person hybrid classes on the 18th.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
We just heard from one parent, and they're concerned about the kids not being in school and them, the whole parent issue that's going on right now with all the parents working and everything. Now, you mentioned something about you would be checking in to see if we could get daycare. Is that what you were saying? A possible daycare for these kids?
No, what I was doing was there was a question. I think Abby asked a question if there was any community pods, and usually there were churches or certain parents that created opportunities to say, hey, I'll take a certain number of kids. It occurred and came to question back in the spring. And what I shared was, I have not heard of any of those things occurring, even though we just went district-wide virtual. However, there's a neighboring district that is talking about volunteering a building and staff for daycare. And I was telling Abby, as I was sharing with the whole board, I don't see how that occurs. So I'm looking at that a little closely and talking to my colleague as to how are you thinking that's going to occur in your community when they would say, why wouldn't you just have school? So that's where that came up, Dottie. So it's not, we're not going to have that type of situation, but I am looking at what's occurring in our county and across the state with some of the ideas that our superintendents and communities are coming up with to try to help with that question that Mr. Marsh was just bringing up as a concern.
Okay, thank you. The reason I'm asking or want clarification is the fact that I really want the public and the district to understand that the motion we make tonight, we still take in consideration their home situation and let them know that we really do care. It's out of our hands pretty basically, and it's a sad, sad day right now, the way things are. But we want to make sure the public understands we are listening to them.
Yes. And I appreciate it, Dottie. And that is a part of my superintendent comments that I would be making, is the fact that I do understand that this is not easy. And by all means, we are not making a knee-jerk reaction without knowing the impact and the ripple effect it is going to have across our district and our community. So yes, I appreciate that, Dottie.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
One of my concerns is, from what I've heard, the vaccine that they're working on, you know, it sounds that students and young children will be last on the list to receive those vaccinations. So what are we going to do as a district in the meantime, whether we go back hybrid or we remain virtual for our failing students or students that are not showing up for school? We can't ignore that part of it. And that is my greatest concern. Like, whether we're virtual, hybrid, full in person, what are we doing to support our staff and our students to show up for school, to do school, and to succeed at school?
That's a very good point, Dawn. And we are doing that each week with looking at data and trying to identify those students who are struggling, as we are knowing that if there's a struggle with a student, there's an adult at home that is also struggling with their child. They want the best for their child. And a lot of the stress that is occurring is there are parents that know that teachers went through years of college to become teachers, and some have been teachers for years. And now all of a sudden we are looking at them and saying, we need your help with trying to educate your child. And they are saying, well, if my child was in school, we wouldn't be having this question. But because of this COVID-19 situation, we're trying to find a balance. And that is where the work begins. And there are administrators that are working with parents, and they are finding solutions along the way. But that's a communication and a partnership that has to continue. And we're not saying that this all looks great and it's all just awesome. It is where we are finding pockets of positive partnerships that are occurring, and we're trying to spread that type of work along with all the other teachers that are also struggling. So we and parents, as we try to educate all of our kids in our district. So yeah, there's no easy answer, but no one's closing or turning a blind eye or a deaf ear to what's going on. This has become a situation where we have to continue to work forward and being able to learn from what we are finding out, what works and what's not working, as we go into this virtual situation with teaching and learning with our kids and our parents. It's a very sensitive situation. I agree.
Kevin, do we have data about the number of children who are actually making it to virtual class? And how about the effectiveness of our evenings where some of our faculty are virtually meeting, or they're meeting at our students are using the Wi-Fi at the high school? What kind of numbers do we have with that? Because I think this goes to Abby and Dottie's and Jeff's questions in a way. Is how do we know what we know? What is the data that's there for us to say that this is what we're doing so far has been successful?
Yeah, so there's 3 or 4 students that are still utilizing the Wi-Fi situation. But your question, Craig, brings in such a huge amount of data questions, because I can approach it from numerous areas. But right now, we're trying to get a handle on those students who are in the most stressful, struggling situations, that we're trying to get to them as much as possible. I could tell you at the middle school that we had to tell them that they were bringing in groups of 2 and 4, working with the guidance counselors and working with teachers, to where we said no, because we had a situation that caused a quarantine because of that. So we had to go to one-on-one with the students and the teachers and the administrators that are trying to help out, just so that we can still offer that support, but coming in more often. And I know that it felt good at the time, but it just created another huge situation that we had to attend to, that took away from the learning from 2 or 3 students that happened to be there when that was occurring. So they got quarantined because one of the others was positive or tested positive. So yeah, that data that you were just mentioning, and I'm all about the data points and bringing in the information, but that is huge. We're going to continue to work on that.
Thanks. That gives us a better idea, I think, of the challenges that they have. I mean, the high schoolers, I'm sure, are completely out of their usual element, but in a way, this is what they may be facing when they're going off to college as well. It is a whole new world out there that it's not necessarily easy for them to navigate, and for parents too.
Yes, and I would share with you that from the 4th grade to the 8th grade, when the changes are occurring with middle school and kids at that age, there are numerous things that they are trying to work with when it comes to that teaching staff and administrators, to try to make not just the connection, but to get to the learning, because you can't get to the actual teaching and learning until the connections are made. And so those are that's a heavy lift. And yeah, we can say at the high school kids that we know is going to be something they get ready for with college. They're also going through some changes. And I just applaud the fact that they are constantly trying to find answers to what's working and continue to lean into what's working.
What I don't.
To Dawn's question, Kevin, do we have data now that shows that we have a handful of students or a dozen or 24 students at each grade level that we don't know where they are, or they're needing special support so that they are getting, whether it's the emotional or the social or the academic support that they're getting that?
Yes, that is the word, Craig. That is exactly what's occurring right now, and that is and I've seen it a lot in the middle school from my just watching the flow of the traffic that was before we got into this situation, that and having conversations with the building administrators and what they are doing and talking with their staff and sharing what struggles that they're running into and saying, here's where we need help. So yeah, I understand the actual work that's being done, but we realize it's not over. We're like probably just getting into the middle of it and the thick of it all.
Thank you.
Kevin, I respect what you're asking the board. But with that, there are still many schools in session, full in person, not in a hybrid situation. And there are some that have had to stop and quarantine for a week and then they come back. So I guess my question is, how are they making it work and we're not able to?
That's a very good question. Their numbers are not number one in the county. We have more than they have when it comes to positive cases in quarantine that is occurring. We had 1 week that we tied with Harper Creek. And since then, we've been the number one community, should I say, in a district that is trying to deal with. Now, think our district and our number of kids and staff that we have, we're smaller than some of the other school districts that are now going district-wide virtual. So take those numbers and squeeze them into Pennfield and into our district, and you see why we're having an operational problem right now. So that is why, because those districts do not have the highest cases as we are seeing in the last 2 weeks. And that's the reason that we're seeing what's occurring in some of the other districts, even though they're bigger, their numbers are not as high as ours.
Right. What I'm saying is, how are they able to quarantine for a week, some districts up to 2 weeks, and then they're able to come back? And what you're asking is for us to push it out until January 18th. I think that is a long stretch.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm asking, is because the numbers continue to go up. So I'm saying that, and I'll give you an example. We have 1,000 cases in our community, and you can take 1,000 cases and put them in Lakeview. Lakeview is a much larger area with more kids and more people than we have in Pennfield. 1,000 to them may be to where they can quarantine and get staff and then come back. 1,000 in Pennfield is chaotic with trying to keep the staff in place. So those are the same numbers, but we don't even have that. We have, say, 1,000 in Pennfield Township, and they have like 600. That's the type of situation that we're looking at based on positive cases that are occurring. That's why it's harder to keep it going, and to keep up the level of learning that kids deserve, instead of being bounced in and out and around and trying to keep up with who's positive and who's quarantined, that becomes a situation that operational, we are not able to operate in that manner. So that is that is why it's being asked, or should I say being proposed, as going into 2 weeks after the Christmas break, is because they're going to need some time to quarantine before we come back. Abby?
Do you think that I know, as an employer, we can't tell people how to live their lives or what to do on their time off of work.
Right.
But is there some education or some protocols that we can suggest to people to try to help them keep themselves healthy?
Yes.
So that they aren't quarantined so often?
Yes. We're going to put some more educational materials related to the COVID and the quarantine. We're going to try to get some more out on the website and on the Facebook. I will be doing another video here before the break to make some of those recommendations to try to help support trying to get the numbers down and keeping our kids in our community safe. And again, you're right. It's not like we're not making anyone, but we can highly suggest these things will help with the numbers in a situation that we're in. So most definitely.
I'm assuming you're speaking of that these things are going to be directed towards your employees, right?
Yes.
Not towards the families, towards your employees.
Correct. Because
okay, thank you.
The traveling is going to be, the quarantine piece that also hits the district. Good point.
All right.
Well, we have to remember that our employees are from across Michigan, and so are our students with school of choice. So we're not just saying that, all of our staff and all of our students are Pennfield community.
That's correct.
So it's pretty hard to dictate where they're going to be. I mean, if you're a staff member and you live in Kalamazoo County, you're shopping most likely in Kalamazoo County. So
yeah, we can just utilize what the local health department is putting out as a message, and then try to share that same message.
I'm talking about education.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Abby. Thanks, Don.
I guess my point is going back to the January 18th. What is the significance of that date going to change?
Is that it's a quarantine. It's 2 weeks after the holiday break, to where it is a quarantine opportunity for our students, community, teachers, staff to all have 2 weeks to quarantine in case all of a sudden they start calling and saying, my child is positive, or a teacher calls and said, yeah, I'm positive. Those are expected to go up over the Thanksgiving break, but they're even expecting even more over the 2 weeks for the holiday break that goes from Christmas to New Year's. So that extra 2 weeks after is a quarantine opportunity, with anticipating higher numbers to occur with adults and kids. That is the same thing the health department is reading into the state, and with our local school district administrators. That's the reason they're doing the same thing.
So you're going to be asking your teachers to voluntarily quarantine those 2 weeks so that they're ready to come back?
Yes. Even though we'll still be teaching and learning with virtual, but yes, that's exactly what we're going to be asking them to do.
So Abby, that's what we're doing at the college too. Is that we know that our students are going to be particularly active during the next month, and so we've moved to the point where the semester's not starting until Martin Luther King Day, in order to try to get the spread under control so that they can return. And in fact, my college had to have a 2-week virtual period during this semester that we're just finishing, because we just had to get a spread under control. So it did work, by the way. So I think it's very sound in its thinking, and it actually makes parents and students actually more conscious of the fact that they're if they want to be back in school, then they really have to be conscious about their choices.
So I have a question. I'm kind of on the same limb as Dawn, is looking at date wise and count of days wise. With doing this, especially in December, we're going to be losing 2 full weeks, the week of December 7th and the week of December 14th out of school. If you look at day wise, count wise, even if you test positive, you're quarantined for 10 days. If you're a probable or close contact, it's 14 days, correct? Right. So Thanksgiving Day, 10 days later, we could return on the 7th and pretty much have a 10-day quarantine after Thanksgiving. So what would be the objection of coming back the week of the 7th, the week of the 14th, and at least being able to have 2 weeks there in December and not have 2 months off of school?
Yeah, because people are not going to travel and be with their families until Thanksgiving, even though they may be the day before and the day of. So you're really looking at what the state is doing with the high school. And that's the reason they started with Wednesday and went 2 weeks, which went into December the 8th. That's the reason the health department did it that way, because they were saying, hey, well, if they're traveling. The reason I made the recommendation for starting today was because our numbers, looking the way they are, is not matched up with what the state even has. We are, way ahead of. Our surge is worse than what even the state is looking at. So if you go with Wednesday, and then you go to the next Wednesday, which is the 1st, and another Wednesday, which is, I'm sorry, that's going to be Tuesday, which is the 8th.
Correct.
They're counting 2 weeks from when they believe people are going to be traveling to go be with families. And a lot based on that, saying high school kids, that's why they have that date in there as the 8th, which because of that, they're giving signals off at the health department that as of next week, they're going to be pushing that date because numbers haven't eased up any yet. And they're looking for them to go up over the Thanksgiving break. So Thanksgiving after the break, 2 weeks, the week of the 30th, the week of the 7th. That's 2 weeks. So now you're looking at, well, if you're returning for that 1 week, which is the week of the 14th, in our hybrid situation, that's 2 days for each of those groups, anticipating that the state says the numbers are going down, our community, the numbers are going down. They have to go so far from 15 down to 10 just to say we have reason to start looking at bringing our kids back. But right now, those numbers are not looking. They're going the opposite direction. That's why the health department, and I'm talking about utilizing their words with making the video and having that go out for our community.
So you're saying the reason that we chose not to come back on the 8th is because based on the numbers, you're fairly certain that our percentage won't be low enough that the health department will want us to.
That's correct. Based on the metric that is being used that says 15, even though 10 is the number, and then you want to have the community be lower, that we're right now at 15. And yes, we're not going to see a drop of 5 percentage points in the next 2 weeks before we look at that last week. So yes, that we will not be in any better shape. And we're hoping we're in better shape, not worse shape, because if we're worse, this is really going to cause a lot of stress on the county when it comes to hospitalizations and being able to care for even those that are not sick, that just go in for a regular checkup that they need to be taken care of. So that is the reason that recommendation was made. Or should I say it's being made. So Dawn, your unless there's other questions, then this would be the opportunity for boards vote on a recommendation for resuming on the 18th.
Does anyone have any more discussion on this? Okay, I would need a motion to support Kevin's recommendation.
Dawn, I think we just lost Scott.
Yes, he said he lost connection. He's working on it. We can give him a moment.
I think we just lost Abby. So we want to give her a minute to get back also. Oh, there she is. So he sent you a message, Dawn? Oh, there he is.
I'll make the motion to support Superintendent Simmons' recommendation to the board for the January 18th return.
I support.
Dottie, you'll need to do a roll call vote.
Okay. Craig?
Aye.
Jeff?
No.
Dawn?
No.
Abby?
Unmute, Abby.
Okay. I'll go with Alicia and come back to Abby.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes.
Okay, Abby, yes. Alicia?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
And Dottie, yes. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Be 4 yes and 2 no, believe. 5 yes and 2 no. If I get my numbers right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, motion pass.
You're holding up well, Dottie.
I'm trying.
The next agenda item is superintendent contract, and I would like the board to make a motion in closed session for that discussion, and then come
I
back.
would make that motion to go into closed session to discuss the superintendent's contract.
Abby will second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll.
Roll call vote, yes.
Okay, Dawn,
Yes.
Abby. Abby. Control D, Abby.
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Craig,
Aye.
Scott,
Yes.
Alicia,
Yes.
and me, yes.
So Jackie,
Yeah, so I've sent everybody a link to your email for the closed session link. So you want to exit out of this meeting and go to the closed session.
and as mentioned before, when we're coming out of closed session, we'll ask Jackie to post it so that they know we're coming out of closed session.
Okay, can I make a statement first, please? First, I'd like to apologize to Jeff for not being able to say his name. And also, I got on late is why I was so confused, plus the fact that I really didn't know I was going to be secretary again. So I want to apologize to the whole board for being so confused when we started. Thank you.
It's okay, Dottie. It's all great.
Thank you,
You're
Dottie.
doing great.
Thanks, Jackie.
That's why we work together.
Okay.
Remember,
Okay, I'll see
everybody's got to
everybody.
make sure you leave this meeting since we're going into closed session in a second. You can't
Oh,
stay
that's
in both meetings or else it'll be audible to the community.
Good point.
If
Thanks,
someone can't find the link, please just send me an email and I'll copy and paste it there.
Thank you.
Thanks. Come on.
Hey, there's Leo. So, I know there's no party this year, but I still know who he is.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, Daddy should be here in a second.
I think Scott is the member missing.
Unmute, Dottie. Unmute.
I was talking to Scott on the other meeting.
Oh.
Trying to get Scott to come to this meeting. I will tell you. What a mess.
Does he need my help over yours? Just asking,
Yeah,
Daddy.
will you send him another link?
I will.
please?
Yep.
We were
Can you
talking to each
imagine?
other. We were talking to each other on the other meeting. Our meeting.
Dottie, can you imagine doing this with 57 students in fifth
No.
grade?
No, I could not.
Right.
Okay, I just sent it to Scott if anybody is actually talking with him.
Okay.
I just did first grade Google Meet last Friday with Crazy Hat Day and Crazy Sock Day with my first grade granddaughter. It was a hoot.
I bet it was.
She's got those kids trained. They stay muted and they just get off one at a time when it's their turn.
How many does she have in her class, Abby?
It's an Olivet first grade teacher, and I think she has like 45. They get together once a week, all of them, but the rest of the time they do small groups.
That's good.
I think I see Scott's on board or back.
I'm here. I'm just not seeing anybody else.
Oh, there he's there.
We can hear you.
I can hear you guys. I just can't see you. So I don't know what's up with that. That's all right. As long as I can hear you.
Awesome. Okay, Dawn, I think that's everybody's back.
Okay. I don't have an agenda.
It's still a superintendent's contract approval as an action item.
Okay, we're looking for a motion to approve the contract for Superintendent Simmons.
All right. I'll make the motion that we accept Abby's recommendations, except that the education enhancement be for 1 year, 5,000, and then going back to 3,000 after that.
Support.
We need a roll call vote, please, Dottie.
Craig,
Aye.
Abby,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes. I'm
Alicia.
thinking. Yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Dawn
Yes.
and Dottie, yes.
I'm also a yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Motion
Alicia.
carries.
Thank you, members of the board. And as I know, this is work that will continue. The next agenda item is comments from the public. Dawn?
Any comments from the public?
No, there are no more comments from the public this evening.
Thank you, Tammy. I believe we move on to board or superintendent comments.
That is correct, and board comments after. So I appreciate the hard work and understanding and support that this board is giving to myself personally with the last 17 months to get to where we are now. And I know this is the beginning and that there's work that to be done. I will add that there is no satisfaction right now with where we are with our kids in our district when it comes to the teaching and learning, that we are constantly trying to meet the needs of our kids. And now, as we did from the beginning of the year, we have to meet the needs of our parents, because this is not a normal situation. This is not the in-person teaching that is occurring. This is a partnership, and that there's never going to be a satisfactory area that we're going to reach, but we can always reach further by trying to do better. And that is the task at hand, and that the administrative staff and myself will continue to serve this district in a manner in which we will be doing everything possible to meet those needs and then be able to create the balance within our district. I do want to say that I did call our new members today of the board, and they are all excited. There's one that I had to leave him a voice message, but I expect to hear back from him tomorrow, because I'll call him tomorrow. But for the most part, we have great things ahead of us, and I am truly excited about what we have starting as we start to move forward. So that is my superintendent comments for today. President Fortin.
Thank you. Moving on to board comments.
I would like to thank Abby for all of her hard work on the research for this evening, as well as good memory. I would have not remembered some of these things. I remember some things, but I didn't remember some of the details. And I really appreciate the fact that she was reflecting on these and made some very reasonable suggestions. So thank you, Abby.
You're welcome. No problem.
I agree too, Abby. As I already told you, this was great. You did a wonderful job of preparing this for us. And I want to thank you for all your hard work on this to help us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Abby. To Mr. Simmons, one thing I just want to touch base. First of all, thank you guys all for having me tonight. I'm glad to be a part of this board. Very energetic on getting going. One thing I just want to touch base on is to make sure we are emphasizing, you just said we're doing everything possible. I want to make sure we're doing everything possible plus everything possible. If it's, it sounds like you're touching base with other schools, seeing how they're doing it. Let's figure out how a school just north of us is going 5 days a week with no problem. Why is it just Calhoun County? Why is it, let's figure out how to get our kids back in person. You know, we do have a job, and that's first and foremost is education to our kids. We've all touched base on it, you know, even tonight. We've got a lot of kids that are failing. If I got to go knock on doors, let me know. We need to touch base with these kids, and whatever we got to do, we got to get them a hotspot. We got to get them whatever. If we could touch base here in the next few days, I know Thanksgiving's coming up, but if we can touch base with the school administration and guidance counselors and put another, you know, effort towards touching base with some of these kids that teachers haven't heard from, would be very appreciated.
Again, welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Dottie.
I wish you the best of luck in the next 6 years.
2 for now. 2 for now, but thank you. Thank you.
You're right. 2.
I gotta rerun first.
Yes, I forgot about that. Thanks.
Sorry, I kept losing my connection there. This is board comments, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the teacher or the administrators, I know they're all working so hard, but I'm hoping that they've had a chance to get on some Google Meet classrooms now. And I know you said some of them were subbing, so they did. And have you had a chance to, Kevin?
Yes, and it was it's again an elementary class, but they were really interesting. But a lot like what you said is they knew the routine. In seeing that occur, now I need to look at a couple of secondary classes, but it was easier to take a look at that elementary class and go, oh yeah, okay, all right, I kind of see. But from there, yeah, it's been quite interesting as to what we can do more. And the teacher even says, yeah, we can do more.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Appreciate it.
Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion. I'll second your motion.
Okay. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Same to you.
Hey, Abby, will you stay on for a second?
Sure.
Thanks.
No, I just have a quick question for you. Will you approve the minutes from the last 2?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just put you as vice president, like acting secretary in the notes. Is that fine? I mean, they're both very short.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I didn't want